All right, let's try this one more time. Today's September 7th, 2018. Back in 1990 on this day is when I lost my beautiful mother, Pat. And anyway, today it's kind of funny because almost every September 7th it rains. The day that she died, it rained also. So let's get to what we're going on about today. I'm heading over to pick up Gracie because I've got to be in Tennessee. And so I kind of switched some times with my daughter's mother so that I could get my daughter on this weekend instead of the last. I want people to understand that one of the things I like to say that I'm always going to say when I get on here is that you matter and you're important. Where I get that from. And it's not like everybody would assume. When I was a kid, I used to watch a show on TV called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, another show called Reading Rainbow. There was all kinds of different shows on TV when I was a kid that was part of my childhood and a lot of my friends' childhood. However, I was on looking through some new movies that came out on Tuesday, and I saw that pretty soon they're going to be coming out with a movie over Fred Rogers. Now, why is Mr. Rogers important? You know how many people I've seen go on Facebook and social media say he was a Marine and he wasn't. He was actually just a very kind man that felt that children have very, very deep emotions. And he knew for a fact that everything stems from love or lack thereof love. And it makes a lot of sense in today's world if you don't want to get to the ooey gooey, oh, that's kind of crazy type mentality. But it makes a lot of sense. You know, in life, as you're growing up and you're watching the people around you who your heroes and everything were, when Mr. Rogers had... Hey, Lee. Sorry, buddy. How you doing, buddy? Miss you, bud. Hope everything's going great, Lee. Hey, Dina. A friend of mine, Lee Rhodes, everybody. Tell him, make sure to say hi to him. He's a great man. But I'm kind of getting at the same with Mr. Rogers is because at a time, people don't understand, things used to be a lot worse in the United States. Hey, Heather. The United States used to have all kinds of issues all the way up from basically till current day. But kids were faced with dilemmas that nobody wanted to address. So, fast forward to Mr. Rogers. Go on YouTube, look up a couple of his things, look up who he is, okay? You know, you may think he's the, lovey-dovey type and all this other stuff. Actually, he fought for everything he believed in. He was never military. You know, he was never anybody other than who he was. He didn't have to fall back on anything. He went in front of Congress to show that public broadcasting TV, you know, as long as there's education for kids, such as like Sesame Street and, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and all these others, they lived up to their name. And what I implore everybody to do is sometime this weekend, go onto YouTube if you can, and just watch one episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I mean, he gets deep into everywhere from race relations to, you know, divorces. You know, at a time where people looked at divorce as taboo, you know, oh, I can't get a divorce. He actually addressed all this stuff. Okay? And we look at it today like, oh my God, no. Today, our world is better than it's ever been before. We have less AIDS. We have less cancer. We have less gun violence, okay? And the reason why I bring all this up is because media and people, they love to exploit the negativities of everything. And there's nobody out there anymore that's saying, hey, stop, enough of this. You know, you're letting our kids grow up to think that the world's this evil, bad place when in fact it's probably one of the greatest times in our history. We have no wars going on other than maybe some skirmishes. We have people that get along today better than ever before. Yet if you go out there and you try to justify and try to say that all cops are bad or all people are bad like that, you're missing out on why they're the heroes in the first place. You're missing out on why school teachers are heroes. You're missing out. You know how many programs I've watched where it showed that schools back in the day when drugs were bad and really, really bad, they took over pretty much schools, and it took like strong principals, strong teachers to basically take back control of the schools, to take back control of our kids. Well, we need to do that today and take back control of ourselves. Because I'm seeing a lack thereof love. And I had one priest tell me at one time, love's got so many different meanings to it. You know, here in the United States, we just assume that love is, you know, that feeling of, ooh. But actually, love has a lot of different meanings, and it gets lost in translation what it means. And I implore you to go on to Google and places like that and take a look at what I'm talking about. Because we need to make sure that we're not just raising our children, but we are raising our children the right way. We want to make sure that we're treating our friends and our family members, we want to make sure that we're treating everybody with respect. Okay, my friends come from every nationality. My friends come from almost every country in the world, almost every state. I got friends in every county, and I call them my friends because I stay in touch with them. I stay in contact with them. I make sure to keep up with them. I make sure they're okay. And if I don't, I'm hoping they're getting a hold of me so that they know that they matter. So when I'm doing these things for you, and some of you may know me, some of you may not, I'm actually talking to you because I want you to look in the mirror every day and say to yourself, I matter. I make a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it's not the case at this point. Right now, you need to learn to start saying it. Why? Because there's nobody in this world that can take away anything from you unless you let them. And I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about mentally. So whenever I get on here to tell these things, it's because people are good. And, you know, when you sit there and you try to sit there and separate the races, or you separate culture and creed, okay? When you sit there and you go around burning stuff, you know, I do get on the topics that sometimes people don't want to hear. And I have ideas and my thoughts that do not always coincide with somebody else's. But I'll tell you what, I will always respect their viewpoint. I'll always understand where they come from. It's like my buddy Larry Embry that just got on. Larry is probably one of the greatest guys I know. Love you, Larry. Hope everything's great. But let me give you a little story about Larry that he probably doesn't even know. Larry, I met through a good friend of mine named Patrick McGinley. Larry has been nothing but kind to me. Every time, he's always worried. But it's funny is because Larry has a heart of gold. And I don't think even he realizes that he has a heart of gold. Larry Embry has a heart of gold and probably one of the nicest guys you can imagine. I'll give you another example. My friend Dina Hummer. I went to school with her. Okay? In school and everything else. School is hard on everybody. But after school and everything, she turned out to be a really good person. And she was a really good person in high school too. But everybody's life is different. And I got to meet Dina for the first time after I got out of high school. I knew her in high school. Not very well. I didn't know very many people very well in high school. I was always moving. But I learned that these people have some of the kindest hearts you can imagine. And the reason why I bring them up is because I want them to know every day that there are people out there that care about them. Like my Marine Corps buddies, all the soldiers, sailors, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard. They matter and they make a difference. But so do the police officers that if you call them. I had 4 calls today with my business asking me what they can do about the cops. I'm like, well, did the cops come? Yes. Did they take a report? Yes. Did they show up when you called them? Yes. Did they talk bad to you? No. Did they threaten you? No. Did they listen to what you had to say? Yes. Did they take immediate action to make you feel better about what the situation was? Well, yeah, of course. But, I'm like, then they did their job. Because they don't have to do that. Because remember, there are places that cops can't even go where they may get killed. Okay, there are people out there, 98% of police officers are heroes. They're going to defend us. It's like RoboCop. Remember in RoboCop? Where at the end scene of movie 3, I believe it was, where the cops were on strike, but they took the side of the people. And people forget that those police officers, firefighters, teachers, the moms and dads, they're all our next door neighbors. Okay? All these different religions, you probably don't even know the religion to the person next door to you. All you know is they're your neighbor, and you love to talk to them, and they're some of the greatest people in the world. And that's all you need to know. Because life is hard enough the way it is without asking all the tough questions that don't need to be asked. I don't need to know your religion. I don't want to know your skin color or your sexuality. I honestly don't, because they don't have any bearings on my life, because I do not look at or judge anybody for that. I do get a lot of scolds sometimes when I talk to military, because sometimes my Marine Corps buddies, Army buddies, we go at each other hard. I mean, you would think that we're going to get in a big fight or something. It's not. It's how we talk to each other. And some people don't always understand that. I can get through to some military guys, other people can't, because I'm not going to go up to them and say, oh, are you okay? No, I'm going to go up to them and say, get your butt out of your butt, get your head out of your butt, and come on. It's time to, And people like, you can't talk that. Yeah, you can. Because everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently. And if you need to be positive to somebody that's in a down mood, you got to be kind. Anyway, that's my story for today. I know it doesn't mean too much, but know this. Everybody matters. You don't know how much time you got left. You know, if you believe in hell and heaven and all that other stuff, remember this. Eternal damnation is not a good place to be. You may think I'm going to ride it, but no, you got to understand. Do good for others. Okay, so you don't believe in religion. So why not do everything you can to make somebody else's life matter so they'll always remember you? Because if you care about somebody enough, believe it or not, like the butterfly effect, you can save the world. But you'll never know it, and you're not supposed to. Anyway, my daughter should be coming out here any minute, and I just want you to know I care about you guys. If you ever want to talk, call me. My phone number's on everything. I'll tell you something funny. When my dad went to the hospital, I think the funniest thing in the world was they didn't know how to get a hold of me. Nobody had my phone number. And I said, it's in his wallet. And it was. And all the nurses at the hospital, but they didn't know I was his son. All the doctors who I know over there, they had my number, but they didn't know I was his son. Because, like I said, it's one of those, it's just a really funny story, because if you know me, I love to market. I love to, get out there the stuff I believe in and truly care about. But today, I want you to know, in this weekend, I truly care about you, each and every one of you. Thank you all for being my friend. Thank you all for always giving me patience and time and believing in me at times where I didn't even believe in myself. Forgive each other. Forgive others. Forgive yourself. There's 3 types of forgiveness you got to do, and I'll go into that another day. Forgive the other person. Forgive yourself. Okay? See what I'm saying? And ask for forgiveness. Because it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is it's on your mind. If you keep things bottled up inside and you keep them on your mind, you don't understand. When I tell people, I'm never going to forgive that, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it so you can let it go. You're forgiving that person, no matter what they did to you. You're forgiving them. Why? Because you need to let it go. Now you're going to ask them for forgiveness. Why? Because you are giving them time in your mind. And the last forgiveness is you need to forgive yourself for allowing it to happen. And you get to move forward, and now you never have to worry about it again. The 3 forgivenesses. And guess what? I didn't read that in a book anywhere. All right, everybody. I'm Jeff. I hope and pray you guys all have a great weekend. I hope to hear from you. It's raining, so hopefully you guys can find some fun stuff to do. It's a great night to be inside and play board games with your kids. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye now.